We need to find different ways to build relationship, to be in community with each other. That doesn't include Cheetos.
This is Your Work Friends, where we break down the now and next of work so you stay ahead. I'm Mel Plett.
And I am Francesca Ranieri.
What's going on?
You know what I did? I made my own pico de gallo the other day. Have you ever made pico de gallo?
No.
First of all, I freaking love pico de gallo. I just do. You go to the grocery, it's anywhere from $3 to $8, depending on how fancy your grocery store is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I could just make this because I had jalapenos at home. I rarely do. Easiest thing to make, gets better by the day. Like, where the hell has this been all my life? I'm pretty excited by this.
Everything just tastes better when you make it at home. I'm convinced of this. Last year, I was really getting into, I need to just cook everything from scratch, including like homemade sauces. So like homemade sweet and sour sauce and all the stuff. There's a really good app that I use called Meal Lime, and they're all about sustainability. I don't know about you, but I used to buy a shit ton of groceries.
Yeah.
And then by day 5, you're like, we didn't eat the cucumbers. Now they're all mush and I got to throw this shit out. But this lets you do all your recipe planning for the week, including little dips and stuff like homemade pico de gallos and like sweet and sour sauce. But it gives you exactly what you need to buy down to the tablespoon. So you reduced food waste and you're not overbuying, but also you're making everything from scratch.
Also, like dips are the thing that typically makes it. You know what I'm saying? Like a good sauce, a good dip.
Nice dips. Yeah. Nothing like a dip.
I also like an app that solves a real problem. This is fantastic. Yeah.
All right. We're back in 2026. This is our first new week, new headlines. Listen, if you haven't already, head over to our website where you can download our work 2030 predictions based on the 30 plus guests we met with last year and all of the headlines like the ones we covered today that we synthesized to give you the patterns of what we're thinking are the top 5 things that might happen by 2030. So check it out.
That's what we're here for. Yeah.
You want to jump in?
Yeah, I do. What are you covering today?
I am covering 2 things. Business Insider just came out with an article talking about a gap year program that's lining up 6-figure salaries for teens, which I thought was interesting. And LinkedIn just rolled out their jobs on the rise for 2026, the top 25 of that.
All right. Fantastic. And speaking of jobs, I'm talking about the 2026 Labor Outlook, compiled a whole bunch of reports out there and want to give everybody a sense of what you can expect in 2026. My F yeah that I want to talk about is the death of happy hour. I am putting that as an F yeah. You'll find out why. And the WTF is Ford's $160,000 problem.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive in. All right, Business Insider put out an article talking about a gap year that is lining up 6-figure startup salaries for teens. And we heard a lot about this buzz happening in our guest interviews in 2025. So I just thought this was interesting because now there's some real traction happening behind this. There's a new program called Common Gap that matches high school grads with startup jobs for a paid gap year before going to college. The headline hook is the money. Startups in this program are agreeing to pay at least $75K to start, and the founder expects many offers to be $100K plus. This is what the talent market is looking like when AI is the gold rush. We heard about teens making 6 figures on Roblox last year. So no doubt you're going to see more and more of this kind of opportunity. Anyway, it looks like it's really ramping up. The big picture is this: companies are trying to grab capable people earlier and earlier. And they're signaling they value proof you can build things over your credentials. And we're seeing this trend more and more. Proof of your skills, not just notification of your skills through certs and degrees. The application reportedly skips your classic resume drop and is asking to present the most impressive thing you've done or built with optional video. And they're even considering using AI to help filter some of these things out. I do have thoughts and feelings on this that I'll share in just a second. So if you're a leader, I know there's a lot out there about college is dead story, but it is pointing out how the hiring system that we have is absolutely lagging. So the question is whether your org is going to be able to spot and develop talent based on the demonstrated skill, not just pedigree, which is what we've traditionally done, And also paying attention to the possibility that you're going to be creating a two-tier pipeline where already networked people are going to get all the shots. So something to consider. So I had a few questions for us to consider. What do you think this means for existing workers?
I don't know. I think it's how much do you value experience and judgment and taste? I think there's one thing to be able to ship something technically, which I think is fantastic. Love the idea of proof. I always want proof, period. It's just the best you can get. And I think when you're 18 years old, you don't have typically the same level of judgment that somebody that is 25, someone that's 30, someone that's 40, 50, whatever. We just get more world experience and worldview. And so my question would be, how valuable is that to your organization?
Agreed. Yeah, there's a real lived experience that folks bring when they're 5+ years within the work world, living life, the context that they bring to the conversation. I also think it's certainly interesting from an early talent identification process. And I know it's being teed up as democratizing opportunity, but we've talked about socioeconomic disparity within the country. And so there can be some real disparity that's built with this kind of promotion. Not every young teen has access to the resources, mentorship, money needed to be a builder that early on. So, what talent are you missing out on? And I do have some recommendations, but that's another question I have. Is this really democratizing things?
Listen, it's pulling it down a little bit further.
Yeah.
Great, sure. I also like the idea of you don't need to have a degree anymore. Great, sure.
Yeah.
But let's not call this the great democratizer. Hand to God, the majority of kids that don't have access to freaking internet, let alone a laptop, let alone any kind of programming language, let alone any kind of mentorship, to your very good point, is pretty big. It's not something that's readily available at
No.
all for most kids. The other thing I think about too is like you and I have been in organizations where the number one thing, I swear to God, especially every single year, it gets worse and worse, is people looking for things like critical thinking. Again, I'm going back to these deeply human skills that sometimes you learn in college, sometimes you don't. There's always these things that seem like newness, right? There are newness into the entry market, a new way for getting people in. It's skills, it's getting rid of degrees, it's taking people from high school, it's the 15-year-old ingenue, right? It never gets away with the whole system. Like we never throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So I'm just great. To me, it's like it's a drop in the bucket comparatively to a systematic change.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. All right, a couple things to consider, if I may, friend to friend, which I'll align with what you're saying too. So for early career folks, listen, you don't need a perfect plan. Stop thinking you need a perfect plan. You don't need to know what you want to be in your life at 18 years old. That narrative should have never been taught to anybody, to be honest. You just need to experiment and keep receipts of the things that you do. Build something, run something, fix something, make it visible to others. That's what's going to get you paid. Gap years are okay, but you need to be able to show, like, what did I do in that time? Did I travel? Did I develop? Did I grow? Did I learn something new? Did I have the ability to gain judgment and show judgment or critical thinking or curiosity? For those who are in between, don't panic about another teen headline and startup offers and them becoming millionaires early on. I don't know. I feel like I see that headline every freaking week now because your reality is just different. If you're 5+ years in the working world, here are the 3 moves for you. Don't just deliver, share your story of the value you create within your organization. You should be doing that no matter what. If you're not tracking that, start tracking that now. It's January. Build your spreadsheet. Make your judgment visible. Be the person who defines the right problems to solve at work. Pick the right work to focus on. And make sure you're staying in the conversation about your future. Ongoing development is an ongoing discussion. So keep it going. And then for companies, just a few call outs here. Proof of work can also be proof of privilege when you think about this kind of example. So again, we talked to teens with access, money, mentoring, better tech, better networks. They have an advantage, and it doesn't always equal more capability. It's about access. And if you really need proof of being able to do something, offer paid, structured sandboxes where people can build something. Use a rubric. Make sure you're not picking polish over potential because potential matters. AI screening also can amplify bias pretty freaking quickly at scale. So make sure you're running adverse checks, impact checks with humans in the loop, and beware of creating that two-tier talent system internally. Because if you're paying six figures for teens, but you're not paying six figures for the people who already work there, you're going to torture trust, and engagement is quickly going to go down the toilet. So make sure you're also providing equal opportunity to your existing employees for something like this to have value for your organization. And that is all. That is my soapbox.
I like it. All right. Okay, Mel, we got to talk about 2026 because 2025 was a shit show,
to say the least.
But it got us thinking, what does the 2026 labor outlook look like? So we wanted to give you all the quick breakdown of what the 2026 labor outlook will be, from some concerns, some bright spots, projections on things like layoff, wage growth, and policies. We'll get in and get out. But I want to give you all a key headline as to what the year is going to look like. And the word is stuckness.
Oh.
Yeah. Listen, Great Resignation, The Great Stay, fantastic. And now we're just basically stuck, right? It is a great recalibration of navigating a low fire equilibrium with wildly uneven outcomes by sector. We're not going to have that classic hot job market, but we also most likely won't get mass layoffs like we had before. We're going to have stuckness, fewer posting, longer searches, cautious employers, and pockets of real demand like healthcare, parts of tech. I'll talk about those in a second. But stuckness, what do you think about that term?
I think it sounds right.
Yeah.
I think everyone is very much in a wait and see mode right now, because AI hasn't been delivering on the efficiencies that were promised last year. There's a lot of buzz around that. And I think people are staying if they can, because the economy is off balance and just a little shaky.
Yeah.
And so everybody is just in this wait and see. And quite honestly, we've had a hot 2 weeks in January already in terms of environment within the US. So there's a lot of instability right now happening. And I think all of those factors are going to keep us stuck for a while.
Agree. When you think about the stuckness, consider all of those things. The AI piece is huge. One thing to keep in mind with what's driving that, last year there was a massive investment in AI. I know you've given this term. It was in our 2030 work predictions as well. But last year, companies alone spent 93% on tech and only 7% on people. Why do I bring that up? Is because last year, companies wrote a check on AI. Their mouth needs to cash this year in terms of efficiency gains. So that's going to be huge. The other thing is we have a huge demographic shift. A year and a half ago, we talked about peak 65, i.e. people retiring. Now it's coming again to roost. Plus, we have all of the immigration conversation happening where we're losing huge pockets of the workforce in the United States. That is keeping unemployment relatively low. Even though it feels like there was mass layoffs, that's what's keeping unemployment relatively low. And to your very good point, it's wait and see trade, tariffs, instability. Quite honestly, we all know prices have gone up. So all of those things are contributing to the stuckness. Big concern here for me is that this is going to be a K-shaped strain. This is one of the biggest concerns I have for this year. There's going to be a lot of haves, and then there's going to be a lot of have-nots.
What's a K-shaped strain?
So K-shaped means it benefits some people, it doesn't benefit others. So the same situation will be great for other people and it will be awful for others. Basically, that's what they mean by the K. So the concerns, right, around the have-nots, again, entry-level college workers, probably not going to be great. We're not going to see a lot of lift. You're going to have to show proof. Stagflation. Shit's just expensive. It's going to continue to be expensive. And long-term unemployment, people that are unemployed, they're unemployed for longer than normal. And all of those things are contributing to the have-nots. But there's some bright spots. Do you have any thoughts about where the bright spots might be?
No.
Great.
No, I think there's a lot of bright spots. Last year, we saw a lot of companies making some quick decisions around AI. And I actually think it's a good thing that there's a little bit of a wait and see now, because I wish that had been the approach in 2025, but it wasn't. Now I feel like there's a shift happening. Oh, maybe we need to rebalance things a little bit with the decisions that we're making in terms of investment in people and investment in tech and what needs to happen. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see that come to roost with the bright spots, because one thing is the human advantage. You're going to see a lot more emphasis this year on that people side or that human side around things like leadership, critical thinking, judgment, taste. Those are going to have a premium. Do not lose those in this whole AI conversation, because those are the things that AI, for the most part right now, before AGI, cannot replicate. So there's that bright spot. Keep that. That's what makes us whole. Number two, structural sectors, things like healthcare and social assistance. So for my nurse practitioners out there, my mental health professionals, my elder care workers, strong year. And STEM and energy, right? Despite tech volatility, the BLS is projecting that STEM roles will grow 3 times faster than non-STEM roles. So some bright spots in a stuckness kind of year. I do have some projections, though, based on the data of layoffs, hiring, wage growth. You want to hear them?
Absolutely.
Okay. So 2026 projections around layoffs. It's stable, but forever light. So expect tactical rolling layoffs in things like tech and finance. And rather than this like 2008, oh my gosh, everything's going to hell in a handbasket at once, expect this to be part of the norm. It's just going to be rolling. If you're in an org, just expect that there's always going to be some sort of org that's laying off in your organization, especially the bigger ones. Hiring, modest with a capital M. Let me give you a number here. Net job creation is going to continue to average 50 to 60,000 jobs per month. That is a significant slowdown from what we typically see at 150,000 jobs a month, okay? Modest with a capital M hiring. Wage growth, modest again, right? So projected to hover around 3.5 to 4%. Listen, that beats anything pre-pandemic, nowhere near 2022. So if you're wondering, for example, if the job you applied to back in 2022 was like $150,000 and now you're looking at the same job and it's $100,000 and you're wondering like why that is, it's because of that. Okay. And a couple of policies to watch. Listen, there is a SALT cap that will change state and tax deduction if you're a high income worker. If you are, congratulations. The other one to look at is tariff lag. Friends, if you're like me, you're looking at your grocery bill and being like, WTF? If you're looking at the post-holiday sales and you're like, this is still expensive, WTF? That's because we're starting to get tariff lag and it will continue to pull through 2026. So those wage gains that you might be seeing, you're going to be spending them in the tariff lag. So that's just something else to be keeping in mind in terms of your budget.
I will say, though,
yeah, please.
Some goodness, if I may. I just read an article last week that for the first time ever, 2026, the retail market for thrift is going to outpace regular retail as a result of all of this. And if you like sustainability, like myself, like my friend here, Francesca.
Yes, love it.
That's a positive.
It's huge. Plus, it's just,
we don't need more stuff.
You don't need more shit. We do not need more shit. Like the amount of, did you also see that grid around the companies that use the most polyester?
No.
Oh my God. So much shit right now is synthetic. It's polyester.
Oh, yes. The videos around that make me want to vomit. I'm just like, I'm not even getting quality for the amount I'm spending. I can find better quality and vintage materials than I can in the store.
Yeah. Try to find something that's 100% cotton or 100% wool or cashmere or something like that. Very hard to find right now.
Yeah. I know. It's interesting. I'm trying to also figure out who's the biggest purchaser of glitter. It's a secret. Have you ever figured that out?
Is this like a funny question? Wait, is this a joke?
No, I don't know who the answer is, but apparently it's not who we'd expect. And I'm like on a mission to find out who is the largest purchaser of glitter. You could cut this, but yeah, I read something like it's something you wouldn't expect, like a toothpaste company or some random shit.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you could cut this whole thing. Sorry to go off this sidebar, but yeah. Yes. I don't know who it is, but I guess it's not public, but there's like the largest purchaser of glitter is like something strange. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to take us off on this tangent. It was my thrifting off base because I think that's a positive for the first time. We're finally moving in that direction.
I think that's a huge positive. I think it's a huge positive. Yeah. Oh, get out. The most credible answer points to the United States military.
Look at you leaking shit into our oceans.
From camouflage and counter deflection coatings.
I was going to think car paint because you know how cars have that
Other big purchasers. Okay, Procter and Gamble, which uses glitter like mica and synthetic shimmer in detergents, cosmetics, automotive manufacturers like metallic paints, and cosmetic companies like eyeshadow, nail polish.
Yeah, like toothpaste, glitter and toothpaste.
I'm not going to cut that. That's pretty funny.
LinkedIn does an annual list of jobs on the rise. They just put out their 2026 25 fastest growing roles in the US. LinkedIn is saying the job market is moving fast and people are feeling it. 56% plan to job hunt this year. 76% don't feel prepared.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This list looks at the fastest growing roles over the past 3 years, and the pattern is absolutely crystallizing. So, two things that stood out to me. AI roles are no longer niche. I think we saw a little of this nicheness happening, but now it's really solidifying. They're showing up as three different types of things. You're either a builder or a translator or a developer. So think of AI engineers, those are your builders, but also strategists, consultants, or those that are training the system. But there's also a very clear tilt towards self-employment. There's a huge increase in founders and independent consultants. That's on the rise. And there's another a little bit disturbing trend to watch, just given some of the research we've been tracking around women leaving the workforce and opportunities becoming less and less. One thing to notice on those hotter roles that are on this list, things are looking lopsided when it comes to demographics with men and women, especially around jobs like AI engineer. That shows there's only 23% females in that job category, 77% male in terms of the demographic split there.
Yeah. And they're typically more higher earners, right? Like the higher earner jobs are more male dominated. Yeah.
Correct. And we covered some of this a couple months ago too. Startup boards are missing women, they're missing women CEOs. So there is an inequality widening in this space and just something to look out for. But I'm just going to give you the top 10. Please, we'll link to this list in the show notes, so you should go check it out yourself. But number 1 on the list is AI engineer, of course. 2, AI consultants and strategists. 3 was new homes sales specialists. And I was like, interesting. Okay. Data annotators are on that list, AI and ML researchers, healthcare reimbursement specialists, going back to your healthcare call out there. Strategic advisors and independent consultants are number 7. Number 8, advertising sales specialists. 9, founders, and 10, sales executives. Those are the top 10 that are on the rise, folks. So definitely go ahead and check that out. One thing that came to mind, though, are we watching AI split the workforce a little bit, the in crowd versus the out crowd and everyone else? Or what are you thinking?
You know what? Somebody asked the other day, if I took AI away, if I took your ChatGPT or your Claude Perplexity away, would you miss it? And I was sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I would, because I've already integrated it deeply into my work. I would not call myself an AI anything. And why I mention that is because I think AI has been deeply integrated into a lot of people's roles without having been specifically called out to be AI. So I think it's hard to answer that question.
I know. I use it all the time and I love it. I love
It's
it as
all the
a
time.
partner, and I just think it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's one to watch. It's one to watch where things go in terms of balancing. And again, that 2-tier system that might be happening within organizations. We also talked with several guests about the gig economy last year, and we even have it in our own predictions. I thought it was interesting that 2 of the top 10 jobs were independent consultants, independent strategists, independent founders going out on their own, which I've never seen that in a top 10 before.
No.
This feels like the first time.
No. And it makes sense when you have a job market that is going to be basically flat. Organizations still have a lot of projects that they need to do. They don't want to hire full-time help because, again, that's 3x someone's base salary to hire someone. Way cheaper in the long run and less liability for them to just hire fractional work, gig work, project-based work. And we're just going to see that tick up more and more. You and I have talked about this before. Organizations are just going to get closer and closer to only having humans that do the core work, core capabilities. Makes sense that those would be on the list.
Yeah, everyone else is independent.
Yep.
It's coming. Yep. All right, so here's what you need to know. For employees, AI is a baseline, not specialty anymore. Your advantage here isn't that you use it, that you have proven results for how you're improving something or adding value by using AI. So start building those hybrid skills right now. You don't need to be an expert on everything. Just pick your interest. Are you a builder? Are you a translator of AI? Are you an operator? And focus on the capability building in that area. For employers, you're no longer competing on pay alone, but pathways for talent, just given, again, the competition out there. If these roles are rising, who in your org are going to fill them? Also, is there real equity? There's a real equity gap that's building within your organizations right now that need to be addressed in sourcing and in development. So be very careful about the two-tier workforce that you're building, not just in pathways, but also in demographics in general. And then for independent folks, our gig friends, positioning is going to matter more than ever with the competition. And being able to productize your expertise is going to be a critical skill set. The bar is high. So take a look at that and be prepared.
All right. I have a F yeah and a WTF. You want to hear them?
Absolutely.
And some people might disagree with my F yeah, but I think it's
okay. All right.
So controversial all the way around. Actually, both of these are controversial, but that's fine. Okay.
That's fun.
So let's do with the WTF. And on the nose, this probably seems like a great headline, but I am questioning it. It's Ford has a $160,000 problem. So Wall Street Journal's reported that Ford dealerships network is facing a shortage of roughly 5,000 technicians, despite some master mechanics earning more than $160,000. The pipeline of new talent is dry. And what Ford cites is that they're blaming it on basically the image problem that so many people went to four-year colleges, and trades was considered something that you didn't want to go into, or you couldn't get a good paying job. So again, the talent pool wasn't there. But modern Ford F-150s and EVs are basically computers on wheels, and a top tier mechanic today is essentially a hardware software hybrid engineer who needs to understand complex electrical systems and data diagnostics. And so Ford isn't just competing with GM, they're actually competing with Amazon. So they're really feeling the heat that they can't find these great technicians anymore for all of these reasons. But my WTF is, listen, this is an issue, and these jobs are real, and these jobs are high paying. But the framing is a little bit bullshit because, first of all, 160,000 is the top tier. What's
the entry? What's the entry salary for that?
1,000%. Number two, you have to pay for your own tools when you're a mechanic, and that can be upwards of $80,000. And I don't see anybody supplying those in this article. And number three, if you talk to most mechanics, this is still very much backbreaking work.
It's dangerous work as well. Those jobs, like the amount of chemicals that you're surrounded by and everything else, like those are dangerous jobs.
They're dangerous jobs. And the last thing I'll say is to reach that top tier, it takes about 20 years.
Oh, God.
I share that only because I empathize with the fact that Ford has a $160,000 problem, but I am curious about what they're doing to soften any of those blows that it takes the talent pool to get into. That's
what are you doing to help build the pipeline?
Yeah, exactly. So WTF on the framing, man. Make it sexier, make it easier, pay for people's tools.
Yeah. You can't come out and say doing this is better than college because kids who go into college are going into debt to come out with a degree, but they're also going into debt to start blue collar work. Yeah. So they're going into debt either way. How are you supporting them?
I would love, and I know this is a utopic Pollyanna view, but I would love for people to not have to pay to play constantly.
Agreed.
Yeah. College, trade school, tools. And
the goalposts are always moving.
1,000%.
You got your bachelor's, but now you need your master's. I know you got your master's, but now you need 18 certifications to get to the next level. And I know you got that certification, but now you need this certification to go with that certification. Otherwise, you're not qualified.
Yeah.
Everybody is degreed out or tool bought out. All
right. So that's my WTF. My F is the death of happy hour. Okay. So again, a lot of publications are talking about the death of happy hour. This again was a Wall Street Journal article. The traditional 5 p.m. post-work drink is fading into history. Several reasons for this. One is the commute tax with hybrid work. People just aren't in the office as much together on the same days. Gen Z is very sober curious. They drink 20% less than millennials did. And then there's inclusivity in HR. Not everybody drinks. Not everybody drinks.
Right.
And I think this is an FIA just because we need to find different ways to bond, to build relationship, to be in community with each other that doesn't include Tito's. Yeah.
Not just that, to your good point, being inclusive isn't just about the alcohol, it's doing it during the workday. You're asking people to extend their hours even further.
Yeah.
And if they don't join, what does that mean for them if they can't join because maybe they're a caretaker for a relative or kids or what have you? Now all of a sudden they can't participate. There's a million reasons for why we should rethink how we help people bond outside of that. Oh man, news is hot. We're coming in hot.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot. 2026.
This episode was produced, edited, and all things by us, myself, Mel Plett, and Francesca Ranieri. Our music is by Pink Zebra. And if you loved this conversation and you want to contribute your thoughts with us, please do. You can visit us at yourworkfriends.com. But you can also join us over on LinkedIn, join us in the socials. And if you like this and you've benefited from this episode and you think someone else can benefit from this episode, please rate and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. That helps keep us going.
Take care, friends.
Right. Bye, friends.
Bye, friend.